Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So today I'm doing something a little bit different, but I am going to be updating my League One predictions from the beginning of the season. Of course, my original predictions, they still stand, but I'm just kind of updating now to let you know what's on my mind, how did I think Sunderland will do, how I think the rest of the table will look. Because originally in my first sort of prediction, it was all about Sunderland, where I thought Sunderland were going to finish, because I kind of admitted that my knowledge wasn't great in this league, but now I think that we've played every team at least once and we've been surrounded by it, and we've sort of dipped our toes in the waters of League One, because before I had no knowledge because Sunderland had never been there. It was sort of unspoken territory because we'd never been there before. So now I think that my knowledge is up a little bit at least. So what I am going to do, I'm going to predict who's going to finish in the top two, who's going to finish in the playoff spots, and who is going to get relegated as well. So we will start off with the relegation places. Now, currently occupying the relegation spots, we have Bradford, Oxford, Plymouth, and Wimbledon. Now, before I go on to tell you who I do think is going to be relegated, what I am going to say is one team out of those four surprised me. Wimbledon, when we originally played them earlier on in the season, when we did manage to scrape through against them, when we did manage to get a win, I think it was 2-1, I'm quite surprised as to how badly they have done this season. And this might surprise yourselves, listening to me say that, because when we played Wimbledon, I thought to myself, we were very, very lucky to win that game. They look like an incredibly physical side, and I think that's why I thought they'd be one of the most difficult sides to beat in the league, because they were so physical. They have so many big, tall players in there, and they just bullied our players. Maybe it's probably because we don't quite have that kind of team that can bully players off the park, and there's a lot more teams in this league that are suited to that style of play. But even then, they were making a lot of chances. They seem like they'd at least have enough to at least get sort of mid-table, and they've been sort of downhill from there, and they're currently rooted at the bottom of the league, which is, it has surprised me, and I thought they'd probably be a lot better this season. But anyway, on to who I do think are going to get relegated. I think that Gillingham, if they lose Tom Eaves in this January transfer window, I think they will go down. They're very reliant on his goals. He's a very good goal scorer. If they do keep him, then I think they will just about survive. So I'm going to say that Gillingham are going to survive, who are just above the relegation spots as well. Scunthorpe sort of hovering around there in 17th, and their season's very topsy-turvy. They're very, very inconsistent. They'll go a few games, where they look really good, a few surprise results, and then they'll just lose the next few and completely cock it up, and they've found themselves getting deeper and deeper into trouble. So I think Scunthorpe, even though they have been very inconsistent, I think they'll stay up. But I do think that Bradford will overlap Bristol Rovers, so I do think that the bottom four are going to be Bristol Rovers, Oxford, Plymouth, and Wimbledon. That is who I think are going to get relegated, unfortunately. Now to the juicy end of the table, what I'm pretty sure you are all here for. Originally, in my original prediction, I predicted Sunderland to finish 5th in the playoffs, and I didn't go on to predict to say whether we would go on to win the playoffs or anything like that. I just said that I think we're going to finish 5th. But things have changed a little bit. Of course, when we did come into League One, we didn't know how we were going to play. We have a completely new team. They're still gelling together, yet we're sat in 3rd. We have a game in hand over Luton, and we do play them this weekend as I'm recording this. And if we beat Luton, we'll jump into the top 2. We've lost the least games in the league, just losing 2 games so far this season. Although my concern for Sunderland is we don't really have the ability to finish teams off. When we go a goal in front, we end up cocking it up, we'll concede a goal, and we'll end up drawing the game. So we don't really have the ability to see a game out. That's probably been a relatively big problem for the majority of the season. Sending offs as well. We've got the worst disciplinary record in the league. So we are going to hit a few bumps, as you can probably imagine. But for the playoff places, I do believe that we will see Charlton in 3rd, Luton in 4th, Barnsley in 5th, and Peterborough in 6th. I do think Doncaster will slip out of the playoff places. Peterborough, again, they're another very inconsistent side, but when that team gets going, they are a very, very good footballing side, so I do think they will have enough to just claw into the playoff places. Who do I think will win the playoffs out of those? I think Charlton will win it. I think Charlton, as of right now, they have a heavily injured squad, and they give us a run for our money. In the most recent game we did play them, where it was 1-1, don't get me wrong, one half we dominated, second half they dominated, but even with a heavily injured squad, that second half, they looked really, really good, really dangerous. So I think once they get a full squad together as well, I'm not too sure, I know there's a few long-term injuries for them, But when players start coming back as well, I think they'll start picking up the pace, and I think they can potentially be one of the best sides in this league. But I think whilst they've got these injuries to deal with, I think they will have to settle for a playoff place, for me, in my prediction anyway. Now, for the top two, who do I think are going to win the league? I think Portsmouth are going to win the league. I just feel like Portsmouth are a hell of a lot more ruthless than us, Sunderland. I think they're a lot more ruthless. I feel like if they've got a game by the scruff of the neck and they are on top, they'll go and score 2, 3, 4 goals, and they won't stop. Whereas with us, we might get a goal, and we'll kind of sit back and allow pressure a bit. The second Portsmouth get a chance, they score it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we're not like that. We kind of, even if we are on top, at times we can be guilty of trying to walk the ball into the net. Portsmouth just go for it, and like I say, they're ruthless. I think in their style of football, they do also leave themselves a little bit vulnerable at the back because they are very much an attacking side, although the defence is very solid as it is, but they can leave themselves a little bit fragile at the back. But I think they will be ruthless enough to win the league, and I think Sunderland will finish in second. So those are my predictions, guys. I think Portsmouth will win the league. I think if we do manage to recruit well and wisely in this January transfer window, then, you know, never know, it could be the other way around. It could be Sunderland top, Portsmouth in second. But as of right now, with the squad we've got, taking form into consideration, I think that is probably an accurate sort of prediction for me anyway. It's just my opinion. So that is the way I'm going to predict League One for this second half of the season. So you let me know in the comments below, who do you think is going to win the league? Who do you think is going to get in the playoffs? Who do you think is going to win the playoffs? And who do you think is going to get relegated? But if you have enjoyed this video, please smash the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, you take care and stay jammy.